I just looked at Terence Crawford's latest video. Terence Crawford, 20 pounds of muscle, my ass. Terence Crawford looks finished. And I knew that was going to happen because Terence Crawford's metabolism and its frame. You got him walking around maybe close to 180 or something like that. But as he works out, his body's going to do what it does. It's going to get lean. And I think it benefits Terence Crawford. Actually, we don't want him stepping in the ring going up to 180. I think it just hinders him, right? When Floyd Mayweather was fighting at 154, he never weighed in at 154. He weighed in at what was most comfortable for him because 154 is the limit. Terence Bud Crawford, if he gets on the scale and he doesn't weigh quite 168, I think it's actually for his benefit. What he has going for him comes with him being smaller, actually. People talk about his speed, talking about his foot speed, hand speed, talking about all those things, his reflexes and all those things. That comes from what we've seen of him from 147.
The boxing world is shaking because of what Jermell Charlo said about Canelo Alvarez recently.
There's just guys that just have preposterous power, and Canelo is a guy that has power but is constantly working on. There's a great clip of him working with Andy Ruiz. You know that shield, that weird hand shield they hold up for hooks?
Yeah.
And he's like, this is not for speed. This is just power. Just power. He's like, don't try to be fast with this, just power. And you see him down there, bro, he hits so.
The boxing world is buzzing after Jermell Charlo's latest comments about Canelo Alvarez.
Preposterous power, and Canelo is a guy that has power but is constantly working on. There's a great clip of him working with Andy Ruiz. You know that shield, that weird hand shield they hold up for hooks?
Yeah.
And he's like, this is not for speed. This is just power. Just power. He's like, don't try to be fast with this, just power. And you see him down there, bro, he hits so hard.
Even though he lost badly to the Mexican legend in 2023, Charlo didn't hold back when asked about Canelo's strength. He could only use 3 words to explain it: a beast that mothers. And for someone who has faced some of the best, like Canelo, that's a big claim. It hurt Charlo like she had never felt before when she got hit like that. He said it was the first time in his career that he had felt unsteady. Given how long he has been fighting at a high level, this is a shocking discovery.
I like Crawford. All right. My brother fought Canelo, not me. I like Crawford in this fight, and he gets to stay big. But my brother even told me that was his mistake that he made. He thought going up in weight, I got to get massive, I got to get big to beat Canelo. It made him slower. It made his reflexes slower. He'll tell you himself. He didn't feel like the Jermell Charlo that y'all seen him fight Tony Harrison. Crawford, I feel like that's the same thing as happening. You want to get big to try to absorb Canelo punches and all this, but that's not, technically, that's not the Crawford that we're going to see. And then Crawford going up there to fight Canelo at 68, when he's not a 68-pounder, where's the motivation? Y'all got to think about it like
Big
that.
for Crawford is
The money is good, but I don't expect Terence Crawford to be the Terence Crawford that was knocking out Gamboa, doing all. I don't expect that type of Terence.
Even though Charlo lost badly to the Mexican legend in 2023, he didn't hold back when asked about Canelo's power. In just 3 words, he described it: a beast that mother. Charlo admitted that Canelo's punches hurt like nothing he had ever felt before. He said it was the first time in his career he truly felt unsteady in the ring, a shocking confession considering his long experience at the highest level. Charlo added, "I like Crawford. My brother fought Canelo, not me."
Jermell did give Crawford problems. I favor Canelo, not by a lot, but I do favor him. I just think that, I think the skull fight was just a bad style. And I think Canelo was like, why force the issue? You know what I mean? I'm up. This guy's running. I'm not gonna take a chance. So I think that it was that kind of fight for Canelo. But Jermell did give Crawford problems. You know what I'm saying? And where I felt like, damn, at 54, he gave you problems. 68 is different.
Now, the focus has shifted to Canelo's next fight against Terence Crawford, scheduled for next month in Las Vegas. Crawford, a proven pound-for-pound great, has climbed divisions from lightweight to welterweight, and now possibly to super middleweight. Fans are eager to see how his intelligence and skills match up against a much bigger opponent like Canelo. This fight will test both men, and Crawford might be able to expose weaknesses in Canelo's style.
Crawford? Yeah. So you've been in there with Crawford, you've been there with Canelo. What can you take from sparring both of them to gauge what's gonna happen in September?
Preparation is gonna definitely be everything. Crawford adjusting to the 168 pound division. I know he's been sitting at a heavier weight for a while, but like, he's been showing his training and stuff. So that's definitely gonna help him. Canelo experience, but then you got Crawford got great experience as well. It's gonna be a great fight. It's gonna be a good chess match. I expect a great fight. If I had to favor somebody, I would just pick Canelo because of the weight disparity. Canelo is naturally sits really well at 168, and it's just always tough for a guy to come to 168 and come from that many weight classes up and do something like that. If he does it, if anybody can do it, it'll be.
Boxing analyst Corey Davis believes Crawford's mental toughness and ability to adapt at higher weight classes may be more important than most people realize. While many think size gives Canelo a huge edge, Davis argues that Crawford's added weight hasn't slowed his speed or reduced his boxing IQ.
Terence Crawford is one of the most craftiest dudes that Canelo gonna be in the ring with. Hand speed, IQ, long arms, speed, power. Switch hitter. I just think that it's gonna be something different for.
Richardson Hitchens shares a similar view. He predicts that the fight won't end in a knockout, but rather in a chess match. He highlights Crawford's sharp intelligence, adaptability, and technical precision, which could frustrate Canelo. While Canelo is known for his brute strength and pressure, Crawford's smooth style and high ring IQ could allow him to outbox the Mexican star and possibly take the win.
Who do you think wins that fight? Is it maybe the weight too much for Terence Crawford?
There's been men that beat people like Armstrong and McLaren and these guys. They're beating people bigger than them, 2 divisions bigger than them. It's not impossible. Henry Armstrong's a featherweight, and he beat the middleweight champ. At 130 pounds, he beat the welterweight champ. Then he fought a draw with the middleweight champ. So I think size means nothing. Determination means everything.
Mike Tyson, the legendary former heavyweight champion, also weighed in. Tyson stressed that fights of this magnitude are often decided not by physical attributes, but by a fighter's heart, resilience, and mindset. In his eyes, Crawford's mental toughness and relentless discipline could neutralize Canelo's power. Tyson is convinced that Crawford's mentality could be the key to victory.
Canelo and Crawford.
Crawford. No hesitation. No hesitation.
I want to see that fight.
Big Bud. Big Bud. We're going to have to roll Canelo up. We're going to have to pack him up, baby.
But how hard is the jump from 47 to 68?
I mean, listen, it's a very big challenge. But what I said, for his skills and the way he's adapted to the size, brother, when I seen him stand toe-to-toe and side by side, I said, game over. Terence Crawford. And listen, don't be surprised if he stops it. I'm telling you.
Who?
Don't be surprised
if Canelo stops Crawford.
Terence Bud Crawford stops Canelo.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I love you. Skills pay the bills. See that, Cody? Skills pay the bills.
Zab Judah is even more confident. He flat out believes Crawford can beat Canelo, emphasizing Crawford's speed, tactical skills, and ability to think 2 steps ahead. According to Judah, those qualities could allow Crawford to take control, especially in the later rounds when Canelo traditionally slows down.
Terence is not a regular guy. You know what I'm saying? He's special. And, Canelo, he's a top-notch fighter, world-class fighter. Still on the pound-for-pound list, I'm sure towards somewhere near the top. And it's exciting. Terence is freakishly strong. He can punch. He's got good crack. He can fight from both ways. Orthodox, southpaw. He can fight at mid-range, close range, outside. And he can fight going both ways. So it's exciting. It's exciting. It's a big question mark on the end of it, though. So that's why, I'm sure all of us are excited for that bell to ring and, be able to find out firsthand.
Caleb Plant, however, takes a more balanced approach. He argues that neither size nor skill alone will determine the winner. Instead, The fight will come down to mental strength and adaptability. Plant notes that Canelo brings unmatched power and experience, while Crawford offers speed, precision, and flexibility. For him, this clash of styles makes the fight unpredictable, and that's exactly what makes it so intriguing.
You got a love for boxing.
Yes,
Who gonna win the fight, man? That's coming up, the biggest
Crawford.
fight in boxing.
Crawford.
Huh?
Crawford. I'm not hesitating. Crawford. I'm not even hesitating. Crawford.
You gonna stand on that all the way to September 13th?
I love Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo by decision. I can't see anybody knocking out Canelo Alvarez. But I do believe that if you can box and you can move, that you can beat Canelo. You can outpoint him.
That's right.
When I think about Canelo, one of the things that I don't like about Canelo, despite his greatness, and a neck as wide as Broadway for crying out loud.
Right.
It's like almost every shot has to be a power shot.
It's a power shot, yeah.
That's not beating Crawford. I will confess, I think Gervonta Davis's trainer, Cal, I think he said this. He said Crawford could find himself in trouble if he decides to engage with Canelo, because Canelo is the naturally bigger, strong fighter. And I don't care that Crawford's gotten bigger, and I don't care that Crawford's gonna go in there just as big as Canelo. Canelo is accustomed to fighting at the weight, and Crawford is not. And Canelo is a genius in this regard. You don't see him show up for fights not ready. He's always
prepared.
He's always ready.
gotta
He's
give him
always prepared. So I think he's the slower fighter, though. And I think that Crawford is brilliant as a boxer. And I think that between switching to conventional and southpaw, using his jab and movement, I think that Crawford is going to outpoint Canelo because he's faster. But he ain't, I don't think he's...
The outspoken sports commentator Stephen A. Smith has also voiced his support for Crawford. In his view, Crawford's quick feet and ability to move around the ring will help him avoid Canelo's dangerous power shots. Canelo's style is built on closing the distance and landing big punches, but Smith believes that plays into Crawford's strengths. If Crawford can keep circling, using his footwork and staying out of range, Smith argues he has a real chance to frustrate and outbox Canelo.
It's a tough one. Look, I like betting fights or making picks, and I'm usually pretty good on all my picks, even when I had the podcast. But sometimes, because people look for that fighter, that former world champion, and they like want to pick them apart if they get it wrong. This is one of the fights where I want to sit back and watch and not worry about my pick. Canelo is a small middleweight, super middleweight. He just is. But he's also showed that he could go up in weight class, and he's a great fighter. I mean, that's it. Crawford is so talented. He's got so much ability in boxing, his boxing ability. And he's a bigger guy, too. He's almost every bit as big as Canelo, right? So that's what makes it tough. Like, yeah, Canelo's used to fighting guys coming down from 200, probably, at light heavyweight. And Crawford ain't. But it's just too hard to pick on it because of Crawford's ability and boxing skills. I'm not going off of Canelo's last fight. The guy he was fighting was in survival mode pretty much. He was just fighting not to get knocked out. When you fight a guy like that, you're not going to look good, right? I don't care what anybody says. When you fight a guy that's running around trying to survive, it makes it hard. So I don't go off of that, but this fight is going to be interesting. I mean, I would almost have to kind of lean with Canelo, but I'm not making that pick. Just saying.
Former middleweight champion Kelly Pavlik also weighed in. He acknowledged that Canelo has more experience fighting bigger men, while Crawford is still new to competing at higher weight classes. Pavlik believes this could be a key factor in the fight. However, he also praised Crawford's speed, footwork, and ring IQ, which could allow him to control the pace and offset Canelo's size advantage.
And Canelo's that's a little early on, put Canelo behind, right? Even if it's 3 out of the first 4 rounds, because when Canelo has to fight, when Canelo has to step it up, after 7 rounds, he starts to fade a little bit. We've seen that with Bivol. We've seen it in a lot of his fights with Triple G. When Canelo could control the fight and the ring generalship, he could fight 12 rounds pretty good. But when Canelo gets pushed early on in the fight, he starts to fade muscle endurance-wise. So if I was Crawford, I would kind of stay in a little bit on, the early rounds and make him have to play catch-up in the rounds 3, 4, 5. And then by round 7, that's where, he could really...
Pavlik even offered Crawford a piece of tactical advice. put pressure on Canelo early. He suggested that if Crawford forces Canelo to work hard from the opening rounds, it could wear him down, especially since Canelo has shown signs of fatigue in longer fights. This strategy, Pavlik says, could set Crawford up for a late stoppage or a clear decision victory.
It don't matter if Canelo is on that. He ain't beat no Terence Crawford. You heard it here first. Plus, I look at the performances of Canelo. I look at his last performances. I mean, they've been all right, you know. They ain't been like, you know, wow, you know, blew me away. So I'm not really worried about all of that. And the same thing goes with Crawford. I know he's with Snack, and I know some news came out this week and all of that, but I personally believe that Snack is clean. I think it's a conflict of interest, the fact that, hey, he knows how to beat the system, quote unquote, Mr. Conte, but at the same time, I think Snack, you got products going around the world, this and that. I mean, all these athletes are testing. They're not testing anything or positive by using Snack at all. So I think they're safe. There's no doubt about it. So with that being said, I'm not worried about that. As long as they're testing, I'm good.
Tim Bradley is firmly in Crawford's corner as well. Bradley criticized Canelo's recent performances, including what he called lackluster showings against opponents like John Ryder. He believes Crawford's superior skill set will overwhelm Canelo, and that even if Canelo tries to drag the fight into a brawl, Crawford will still be able to control the action from start to finish.
I think it's gonna be a great fight. I got Crawford by stoppage, and I known him since he was a little kid, you know, 12 years old. So to see him now fighting for a title in such a big fight, it's a great experience, great to see.
Last question for me then, how do you think Crawford stops him? How do you think he's able to work Canelo enough for him to stop the fight, drop, knock him down? How do you think this is possible by Crawford style?
He gonna box him. He can fight both ways. He gonna trick him up. You know, one thing Canelo showed is that he can be outboxed. But I think this time in the late rounds, you know, I think Crawford gonna have some.
Shannon Briggs shares the same confidence. Despite the size difference, he insists Crawford can pull off the upset. Briggs points out Crawford's technical brilliance, his ability to fight from both stances, and his composure in big moments. Having known Crawford since his youth, Briggs believes his skill set and mentality are enough to score a technical victory, possibly even by stoppage.
I ain't gonna lie, I've been putting it out since, I want to say, when he fought Sean Porter. Like back then, if you go watch, it's an interview out there. I had said I think that Terence Crawford would beat Canelo Alvarez right after he fought Sean Porter.
At that point, but why did you believe then that was the right fight?
Because I just knew, like, as far as in that weight class, Terence Crawford is like the greatest. So I just feel as though with Canelo's style and like the style of boxing that he got, I think and this is before Bivol did it, but I thought like Terence Crawford was the only guy who I felt as though could have beat Canelo with his style.
At first, Sergio Mora didn't believe Crawford could compete with Canelo at 168 pounds. He doubted Crawford's ability to handle the Mexican size and strength, especially after Canelo's dominant win over William Skull. But after reassessing, Mora changed his tune. Now, he believes Crawford's counterpunching, stance-switching, and resilience could allow him to shock the world with a masterful performance.
He sees it as a very interesting 50-50 fight. He feels like Canelo's very strong right now, and he wants to figure out to see how Crawford's going to handle the power, especially in the early rounds, and what's going to happen. So yeah, he said he remembers fighting Canelo back 14 years ago it is now, and he said he remembers he uses legs real good, and as long as Crawford uses his legs, and he doesn't let Canelo just hit him in the arms and beat him up in the arms, he has a very good chance.
Shakur Stevenson has long believed Crawford has what it takes to beat Canelo. Stevenson has watched Crawford's rise closely, particularly his impressive 2021 victory over Sean Porter, which cemented him as one of the best pound-for-pound fighters. He cites Crawford's adaptability, boxing IQ, and ability to switch between orthodox and southpaw as tools that make him the perfect opponent for Canelo. Meanwhile, Erislandy Lara, who lost to Canelo by split decision, offered a cautious perspective. Lara warned that Canelo's strength and pressure are no joke, especially in the later rounds. He believes Crawford's best chance is to keep the fight at long range, using speed and movement to avoid exchanges and force Canelo to work harder than usual.